year was 1997. A young Tiger Woods had just won his first Masters. Michael Jordan and the Bulls won their 5th NBA championship, and here in Houston, the Comets were hoisting their first WNBA title.
And the Houston Comets make history, the first ever champions of the WNBA.
All right, open your eyes.
Titanic became the highest-grossing film of all time. The Dow Jones hit 7,000, and Eric Clapton was topping out the charts with Change the World.
And I can change the world.
But it was the sports landscape of Houston that was about to change with the creation of the Harris County Houston Sports Authority.
If I could change the world.
We had the Astros threatening to leave town. We had lost the Oilers, who had moved to Tennessee. The Astros are threatening to go to the Washington, D.C. area. They didn't want the Astrodome redone. They wanted a new stadium downtown.
Imagine an NFL team leaving a city like Houston with its wealth and its passion for the sport of football and the mythology about football in Texas. It's unthinkable, but it happened. And I think that was a shock for everybody. So the Sports Authority obviously had the very important goal of revitalizing, rejuvenating in a responsible fashion economically the infrastructure in the city of Houston for both the city and for the county.
So the city reluctantly said, okay, we'll create this sports authority, give it a tax base so it can issue its own bonds and pay for that instead of telling the city of Houston taxpayers alone to pay for something.
But it was really a lot of leadership and direction by then Mayor Bob Lanier that enabled the legislation to get enacted.
At that point in time, Robert Eccles, who was the county judge, and Bob Lanier, who was the mayor, were arguing about who was going to chair this facility. And the county had who they wanted, and the city had who they wanted. And so I was the compromise candidate. They said, he's really no one's SOB, so why don't we name him?
Jack was the perfect person to be the first chair and to take the leadership. He'd been a political animal, he ran an architectural firm, he'd take on anything. And so he was the right guy at the right time.
Well, I think the primary challenge was populating the board with the right people. So it was important that the board reflect the community. And so there was a wide variety of people appointed to the board initially, chaired by Jack Rains. And they had a lot of hard work to do. They had a lot of heavy lifting, and they did a really excellent job.
You had the judge and 4 commissioners, and then you had the mayor and the city council. So I counted up one time, I said, yeah, this is impossible, I've got too many bosses. And I managed, I can say without equivocation, I made them all angry.
It was a perfect storm, the timing was perfect, and we had within this city the political will to do this. Had we not had the political will, it didn't matter where the teams went or where they stayed, it would never succeed.
But it did succeed, and with the cooperation of team owners and city and county officials, 3 world-class venues had been created in just 6 years.
Well, the vision really at the time was to build what became Enron Field and fix or create a new stadium out at the Astrodome complex for both a potential NFL franchise as well as the rodeo.
The NFL, one of their big questions was, well, we're not going to play football in a stadium and share that venue with an animal act. Paul said, we're just not going to do it, so work your financing out, eliminating whatever revenue you were seeing coming from the rodeo. I said, Paul, I'm not going to have to do that, because if you're going to come to Houston and you're going to use this facility, the Animal Act is going to be there, and let me tell you why. Because you talk about, if we do this, you may give us a Super Bowl in 7 or 8 years, and if we do a real good job, we might get in the rotation to get other Super Bowls. Well, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, that Animal Act brings us the financial impact to the city of a Super Bowl every year, year in and year out, Mr. Tagblue became much more amenable to sharing a facility with an animal act after that.
The NFL was willing to put an expansion franchise someplace. Almost everyone believed that was going to be Los Angeles, which had also lost their team several years earlier. But Bob McNair stepped up with real money, and the community stepped up with the stadium. And the combination of those two things forced the NFL's hand and had them put it in Houston, Texas.
And with the completion of the Toyota Center in 2003, the trifecta of venues was complete. The downtown revitalization was in full swing, and Sports Authority CEO Oliver Luck convinced city and county officials that the only thing missing was soccer, thus bringing a franchise to Houston and subsequently Houston's fourth venue, BBVA Compass Stadium. With Oliver transitioning to the Dynamo in the process, the search for his replacement and the beginning of a new era for the Sports Authority was about to commence.
Well, when we were looking for a replacement for Oliver, I was the chair of the search committee, and one of the primary criteria was somebody who had marketing background and experience, hopefully sports marketing background and experience, but certainly marketing background and experience.
I think that was very important, to realize that the Sports Authority's mission was not just to get the stadiums built, and because these stadiums were built with hotel and rental car tax, we thought, well, it makes sense to sort of look at events that we could bring into the city that would support the hotel and the rental car industry.
Well, I think once people realized without the new stadiums, we couldn't do the kind of events that we do today. And many times people will say to me, it happened overnight. Wow, this is just amazing. All of a sudden we're this big sports city and county, and it didn't happen overnight. It took years of laying that foundation.
We view ourselves as a catalyst, right? I mean, we can't by ourselves bring people to town. We have to have the cooperation of the stadiums. We have to have the cooperation of the Hotel Motel Association. We have to have the cooperation of Houston First and lots of other people. And so we view ourselves as the group that brings all of those folks together, tries to put together a very persuasive, compelling argument as to why that particular event should be in Houston, Texas, and by and large we've been successful at doing that.
So successful, in fact, that the Harris County Houston Sports Authority was named 2017 Sports Commission of the Year for the second time in 3 years.
We are, of course, thrilled with being the Sports Authority of the Year in the country for 2 of the last 3 years. But I think what it reflects is a phenomenal job done by the staff, and a recognition that this community is a great place for sporting events. And so we're pleased to get that recognition, but mostly we're excited about what it means for us going forward in terms of taking our place among the great sports venues in the country.
For me, it's very humbling because it's other cities that are doing what we're doing here in Houston, that are bidding for events and trying to win events, that are voting for us. We are starting an awards show, and that was a vision that I had and a dream I had from the very first day. I want to still do a college football playoff. I'd like to see a women's Final Four. I'd like to bid for some other really big things that we have on the horizon, and I'm working behind the scenes. So there's still a lot more to come.
I am most proud of, number one, the quality of the Sports Authority in terms of their assets, their reputation, and the owners that have been a big part of all of this. That's really hard to get.
When they ask, is the Sports Authority successful? I say, go drive by those 3 venues and you tell me. The answer is a positive yes.
I would say I would like to congratulate the team, the entire Harris County Houston Sports Authority team. I am so proud, and also would like to congratulate our elected officials. They do select our leadership. They do get involved. To everyone in this community, I would like to thank them.
It's been a terrific 20 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 20, which will be bigger and better than the last 20.